What's happening, high tide traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Thursday, March 7th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to do an earnings prep video for High Tide's upcoming Q1 2024 earnings. We'll discuss all of that and more at the conference call. And then we'll take a look at some earnings estimates. We'll get the consensus from Wall Street, what the analysts are expecting, and then give you the numbers so that you can take a look at the actuals and compare them and see whether or not we beat or miss. And that result is likely going to indicate where the stock goes. And then obviously the rest of the sector, where that's trending, and the broader market. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on as well on the earnings. I think there's a good chance that they do beat, but I think that there's still some big growth ahead, especially with the store cap doubling in Ontario. So I'm not expecting any massive positive EPS or anything like that. But I do think that they could continue to see increase in revenue. And then also we'll take a look at the chart. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the technicals. There is a bearish pattern that we're looking at the moment. We did confirm a weekly downtrend, so we'll discuss all that and more. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Full disclosure, I do own High Tide in my portfolio. Very big shareholder, and this is not financial advice. You should never ever buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or anything that I write. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And I've been hanging out there a lot, so you can follow us over there. So High Tide to announce first fiscal quarter 2024 financial results, and that will be for the quarter ended January 31st, 2024, and that'll be after market close on Friday, March 15th, my birthday, 2024. And then they're going to be hosting a webcast and conference call, and that's going to be actually on Monday, March 18th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'll more than likely join in if I can. We'll see. Actually, my mother's going to be here visiting from the East Coast here in Edmonton, so I probably won't be, but if I do, I'll definitely give everybody an update with a summary and my thoughts and opinions on that conference call. But let me know in the comments section below, do you think they're going to beat? Do you think they're going to miss estimates? And again, I'll give you the estimates here in just a moment. Something else I wanted to bring up as well, as we were on the topic of Ontario just a moment ago. High Tide opens second Canna Cabana in Mississauga, Ontario. So if you recall, in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned in a prior video that they had opened their first one. And this was, I think, shortly before. I can't remember if it was before or after the store cap doubled, but essentially retailers like High Tide are going to be able to increase their store count from 75 to 150. So there's so much growth to be had. And then once they get their eyes set on Germany for, the second pillar, that'll probably be in, late 2025, more than likely. They're going to have access to the German market. They're also working on the US potentially as well. So there's so much growth here just in Canada, right? They're going to be doubling their store count in Ontario, Canada's biggest province, from 75 to 150. So that means they need to double their stores, right? So they got a lot of work to do while they wait for German, second pillar, and for the German market to really open up. And then obviously the US. So in High Tide's mind, maybe they want the US to hold off a little bit longer than, not like us retail investors. We want them to legalize it yesterday, but in their mind, they're probably thinking, we got to expand to the east coast of Canada, right? All over Canada, we got to double our store count in Ontario, and then we got to focus on Germany, and then we got to focus on the US. So in my mind, they probably are hoping that they might take a little bit longer than what most retail investors would expect. But this is going to be a massive growth catalyst as well, just with the amount of stores doubling. So here are the estimates. So again, if you're not familiar with these earnings prep videos, like I said, what I like to do is go over a lot of the analyst estimates, add them all up, divide them, get an average, and then get a consensus of what Wall Street analysts are expecting. So if we take a look at investing.com, they're forecasting 130.17 million Canadian for revenue, and earnings per share, EPS, they're forecasting negative 0.04. If we go over to TradingView, estimate for revenue is 127.675 million. And the estimate for EPS is negative 0.037. And if we just go back here, you can see here they beat on every single one. The last time they missed analyst estimates was back in June of 2021. So we'll see if that trend continues. That is now like nine reports in a row where they've beat analyst estimates. And you can see that the revenue just continues to grow, literally quarter over quarter. It's just exploding. So up and to the right, and they're forecasting higher than they were the previous estimate, but they are forecasting lower than what it actually came in last quarter. So that's interesting. So we'll see if this could be there's a good chance that they may miss. It's going to be hard to keep up this momentum for sure. And then, like I said, obviously with Ontario doubling their store count, that's going to really help their revenue and really attract people from the illicit market as well. And as we know, they continue to lower their prices and offer lowest price guaranteed, and the price of MJ products just continues to drop as we see scale and economies of scale. And then obviously, things just, starting to, once we have so many LPs and things like that, like they have price wars. So in my opinion, there's still a lot of consolidation needed in the space, but a lot of growth ahead. So we'll see, but let me know what you think. You think they're going to beat or they're going to miss. If we take a look at Moomoo as well, they're forecasting 127.675 million in Canadian. One thing I noticed in EPS, it was in unit USD, and this was based on 3 analysts and then 4 analysts for the revenue. But I just essentially converted the USD into Canadian. But they were forecasting negative 0.024 USD. And then 127.675 million for revenue. So I went ahead and added them all up, divided them. So consensus on Wall Street is expecting 128.5 million. And then in terms of EPS, we're expecting negative 0.0395. So those will be the numbers. You can take a screenshot of that. Those will be the numbers to look out for. And if they come in at 135 or 140, that'll obviously be a big beat. And then if they come in at negative 0.01, then that'd be a big beat there as well. If they come in positive, which I'm not expecting, that'd be a huge beat, and we would more than likely see price go up, right? Number go up. But again, if they come in at 120 and a big miss, right, and we start to see that momentum start to wane, and they start to miss for the first time in, like I said, almost 10 quarters, that's going to be weighing down. And then we'll obviously be looking at the rest of the sector. This is going to be next Friday, right, on March 15th. So, and then the conference call on Monday. So interesting that they're having it after market close on a Friday and then the conference call on a Monday. We'll see. I'm not feeling too great about it. Just the fact that, like I said, it's going to be hard to keep up that momentum that they've been seeing. And then also the chart is showing a bit of concern here at the moment. We're heading toward daily oversold. The only thing that I could potentially see is like the sector is still weak as well. If you take a look at like MSOS, some of these other names, like Tilray has a daily bear flag targeting around 154. And then I think we closed today at 164 yet, so we could see another 10 cents or so. But the only thing really going for high tide at this point is if we can see the sector bottom out at some point over the next week and then start to trend back up. That would be nice tailwinds for high tide if we get a positive earnings reaction. Something I'm also looking at is SPY. So if we bring up the S&P 500 ETF, this thing is definitely due for a pullback at some point soon, and it'll just be healthy, right? We have no weekly support all the way down to 466, and it was a weekly bull flag targeting 521, and we hit the high of this week so far is 515.89, so we're like 1% away, right? So we would expect a pretty hefty pullback here, which would just be healthy, and that would probably mean a back test of around 500 or 492, which would bring us back to around weekly EMA 12. And again, that'd just be healthy, but you have to start to question, well, how is high tide and the rest of the MJ sector going to react to that? And it's been since October that the S&P 500 was oversold in the daily time frame, and it looks like that's where a lot of MJ is heading. So one thing I wanted to mention here as well on the weekly time frame, and we'll give you some targets here on what we could potentially expect for a bottom, but I do want to keep this video as short as possible. But one thing I noticed is that we confirmed a weekly downtrend. So we had our high here, our lower high at 193 and basically a double top. And then once we lost the low there at 168, that confirmed the lower high and lower low. So that's a downtrend on the weekly time frame, which is not great. And what happens when you confirm a downtrend? It means zoom out to the next level time frame, in this case the monthly, and look for consolidation. Consolidation just means we're losing the low of the previous candle, and sure enough, we're losing the low of last month at 168. We're now at 162, and we have no support all the way down to 114. There's a lot of support in that 150 psychological area. I think somewhere around 140, 150 will be a nice bottom to target. But the fact that we confirmed a weekly downtrend and we're seeing monthly consolidation with no support nearby. We don't even have any EMA support nearby. We're below all of our weekly, daily, and monthly EMAs. So we're just looking at psychological and price action from here. So price action, like I said, we have 114. We have psychological at 150. If we go to the daily time frame, you can see here there's a level there around 152, and then another one at 146, and then really nothing until 114. So I'm thinking somewhere around that 150, 140 is an area we can target as a bottom. And then on the weekly time frame, we could even see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well, which adds confluence to the fact that we could see more downside from here. I wouldn't expect weekly oversold, but I would expect daily oversold to potentially be an area to target. And then we have a weekly support there at 146. So I think that 140 to 150 is going to be a great area to target here for a bottom, and I'll definitely be a buyer. I'm going to be looking to add to my position around that level. And if we take a look at the weekly time frame, we had some clues here as well. We lost the 10-week moving average, the stochastic cross bearish as well first. Again, usually the stochastic leads on the way up. Usually it crosses first, then the price action gets above the 10-week, then we see a MACD bull cross in that order. And then same thing on the reverse. Whenever momentum starts to shift to the downside, we see the stochastic, it crossed first, then the price action dipped below the 10-week moving average, then we got the MACD bear cross. So this is, again, not looking too hot at the moment. We could see a little bit more downside. I think that downside is limited though. Like I said, we already got the MACD bear cross stochastic and closed below the 10-week moving average. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we seen, another 10 or so percent downside from here. But I think, like I said, around that 140 to $1.50 USD is going to be a great area to target. And lo and behold, here we have the 50 weekly moving average at 149. And then also want to show you that the 200-day moving average is at 152. So a lot of strong support, in my opinion, around that 150 USD psychological area. And then also, like I said, that 50 weekly and 200-day moving average are also right there. So that's going to be a nice area to target. But we did dip below the 100-day moving average as well, so showing a little bit of weakness here. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we dip to 150, 140, but again, nothing to be worried about. There's so many growth catalysts ahead, doubling their store count in Ontario, looking ahead to the German market for Pillar 2, which would be, we haven't got the details on that just yet. They're probably ironing out all of that, and they'll sort out the kinks, and eventually, we'll get the details on that, and we can more than likely expect Pillar 2, really start to ramp up in 2025, more than likely the second half of 2025 if I were to bring that on. And then they got their sights set on the US, right? So there's so much growth here, it's not even funny, and they got enough to do in their own backyard that that'll keep them busy while they await these other key important markets. But going down it there, let me know in the comment section below, do you think they're going to continue to beat and see revenue go up and to the right? Do you think they're going to miss? Always love hearing from you. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Smash a like if you think I earned it today. Share the video with anybody that might find value, and we'll see you again on the next video.